The absolute basics of the Christian faith. Why is there evil? So as we said before, in the beginning, God was living as a Trinity, whole, complete, and perfect. But God decided to create as a gift. He whispered galaxies, and there were galaxies. He whispered pandas, and there were pandas. And He created us too. And it was all awesome. But God wanted something more from humans than He wanted from pandas or star clusters. He wanted real relationship. He wanted to have the kind of relationship He had in the Trinity with us. So, as Genesis 1:27 says, He created humans in His image. Now, the idea of being in God's image has a few different dimensions we need to understand. First, being in God's image means that we resemble God. This means that when God creates humans, He invests them with characteristics that He Himself possesses. Now, as Romans 1:20 teaches, all creation reflects aspects of God's nature, but humans resemble God in special ways. We are given the ability to know God, and in order to know something, you must have some connection to it. Ostriches and wild donkeys and mountain goats do not know God, but the Bible teaches that God knows and watches over them. The relationship is fairly one-sided. Humans are different, though. We're known by God, but we can know Him as well. And true knowledge of a perfect God naturally leads to joyful worship. There's another way that humans, created in the image of God, resemble our Creator. In Genesis 1:26 and 27, God says, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God He created them. Male and female He created them. When God refers to Himself, He speaks of Himself as an us. God is not just a single I, but is in fact a trinity of persons, a unity that includes difference. When God creates humans, He makes them in His image as male and female, a unity that includes difference. Humans resemble God by being different yet unified, like the different notes in a chord that combine to make a harmony. But there's more. Humans not only resemble God, but we're created to represent Him in the world. We're meant to be God's representatives in the way that United States congressmen represent their home districts in Washington, D.C. As I said in the last chapter, the work of being God's image in the world brings with it some responsibilities. So, just like a congresswoman has work that she has to do as part of her official duties, humans were given a task as God's official representatives. As Genesis 1 teaches, humans were meant to rule over creation. It makes sense then that God placed humans in a garden and gave them some specific responsibilities. He gave them some things to do and some things not to do. He told the humans to tend the garden, and He told the humans not to eat the forbidden fruit. He gave them a choice. What did we do? We did the terrible thing. We broke God's command and continue to do so today. Now, some of you might be thinking, why did God give humans a chance to mess up? Why did God make it possible for humans to go wrong? Well, here's why. It's because real relationship requires real freedom. Imagine you're a young man or woman. You started thinking about marriage, and there's a guy or girl that you think is the bee's knees. You're crazy about them. You're just right. They look like you want them to look. They act just the way you want them to act. They're perfect. But they won't give you the time of day. Not interested at all. And now imagine there's a pill. It's called the Cupid capsule. And you could give this guy or girl the Cupid capsule, and they would instantly fall in love with you and remain in love with you forever. Would you give them the pill? Most people would say, no, definitely not. But why is that? Because most of us understand that real love requires real freedom. If we make someone love us, the very act of compelling them to love negates the very thing we want, the free response of affection. And this is why God gave us the ability to obey or not. The problem for us now is we didn't obey. And as the Bible teaches, the real consequence of disobeying God is disrupted relationship and death. Adam and Eve's disobedience messed up their relationship with the triune God. Connection and communication were broken, like when phone lines or cell phone towers are destroyed and communications disrupted. Humans no longer had the full knowledge of God they were supposed to. Disobedience also destroyed humans' ability to represent God and carry out our responsibilities. We can no longer rule over creation as we were intended to. Instead of unity with God and others, humans are now at odds with each other and God. Instead of enjoying the closeness of family, humans became enemies of God and each other. And death also entered the human story. So now our default setting, when we come out of the box, is already aimed toward death. Cut off from God, the redeeming source of all life, we die. Now when Jesus comes, he's going to solve both these problems by restoring our relationship with God and by conquering death. In a word, Jesus is going to restore the image of God that we had in the beginning.